Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So on today's episode, we're looking at the Flex VRG. Stay tuned.
Bye.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of MD Workshop. My name is Saron. So I'm quite excited about today's episode because it is the genesis of a brand new series of episodes or videos that I'm going to be uploading. So I will make a playlist for you guys to reference back based on what we're going to be discussing over the next few weeks. And the discussion will be around these bad boys and all the componentry, products, accessories that go with all things polishing, compounding, the different types of machine. As in today's episode, we're going to be looking at the Flex VRG 3401. Now, this machine is it's referred to either as a positive drive, gear-driven, forced rotation. And what it means is the actual head or the backing plate is under constant load. So there's no free spinning as in with a dual action polisher. So give me 1 second. So this is my dual action polisher, and if you guys see over there, so you have the actual backing plate rotating on its own axis, but it is free spinning. It also does have an orbit, as you guys can see there. Here we go, and we go up again. And so that's why they call it a dual action polisher, because it's a dual purpose. It's spinning while at the same time oscillating. So similar to the dual action polisher, the Flex VRG also has a rotation. It rotates and it oscillates at the same time. So there you guys can see. Come in. So this, as it's rotating, and as I said before, it's under constant load, and that is good for a few things. In that, with a dual action polisher, you have an increased opportunity where, if you don't hold the polisher correctly, more so at the back here, you'll always find that when your polisher isn't centered properly by how you're holding at the back here, the actual backing plate will start to slow its rotation, and if you don't bring it back under control, it will then stop rotating and it'll just oscillate. So that is good for a few reasons, in that it's going to minimize the chance of you having to burn, especially if you are not holding it at the correct angle, if you're not centered. So it's a good thing, but you are then obviously stalling the actual process of doing your correction. Whereas with this little bad boy, it's going to constantly rotate no matter how much pressure you apply, no matter what you do here, it's not going to stop the rotation. So it's going to continue like a rotary, and that's actually the benefit of this and how this actually came about. So they took the function of a dual action polisher, mixed it or married it with a rotary, and then this came about. So this is a true workhorse. So you've got the benefits of heavy correction from a rotary, whilst you still have the ease of use as with a dual action polisher. So a few things to note when you're using a gear-driven polisher is that you're going to get the feel, or as I like to refer to as the pull, as with a rotary polisher. Because this is under constant load, when you press the actual trigger, the machine or the head wants to get to work immediately, and it almost has a feeling of it's constantly digging in. It gives you that impression that it's really doing its work as you are busy moving the polisher around. So when you're using this machine, I highly recommend that you always make sure your hand is on this front handle here. This will help you keep this guy under control. Otherwise, you will run away with it, or thing to know, guys, is that this machine is slightly heavier than your conventional dual action polisher, and that is actually a good thing. You can use it to your advantage. Whereas a lot of guys use a lot of pressure or apply a lot of pressure when using the dual action polisher, and once again, that may bring up problems. When you apply too much pressure, you then expose the actual head to actual stop rotating, and then it's just oscillating. Whereas with the forced rotation, all you need to do, let the weight, let the actual backing plate do the job for you. Your job is just make sure that you're guiding the polisher in a certain pattern, and the weight will continuously be exerted down onto the backing plate, and backing plate onto the actual pad, and the pad onto your clear coat, and then you will get the benefit of all of that without having to constantly press down. As you guys will see in the scene to follow, I took the bonnet that I use, for demos and all of that. The bonnet was in, or is in, horrible condition. There's a lot of deep marks, there's a lot of scratch marks that are way too deep. Also, the clear coat on this panel, it's failing. You'll actually see there's a spot where the masking tape actually peeled off the clear. So I didn't want to sand, so I just actually wanted to show exactly how good these machines are, and in particular, how good this Flex is. One other thing that I would like to share with you guys, whereas your dual action polisher rotates in a clockwise rotation, your Flex rotates in an anti-clockwise. So the oscillation will happen in a clockwise movement, but your rotation of the actual axle is in an anti-clockwise pattern. And what that means is, as you're moving, to your right, and the actual head is spinning in the opposite direction, you have a lot more aggressive power being put down to do the correction, and you will feel that, especially if when you're moving in one direction and you don't hold the back end of the polisher properly, you'll actually feel that the motor wants to take you, and you're going to get that pulling effect. So once again, just make sure that you hold the polisher down properly in the front and at the back, and just guide the machine. Otherwise it will, like a big dog, it will just want to drag you along when you go for a walk. This little bad boy will do something similar. Just keep it down. Just make sure that you have your pattern lined up. And as usual, with all of us, we make use of what's called the crosshatch pattern. You don't need to use that pattern. If you remember how you moved, that's fine. For me, I just like doing that because it allows me to concentrate and look at what's happening as the polisher is passing. Because I know I'm going to be going left to right. I'm going to do 50-50 overlapping passes, and it also just makes sure that I don't miss a spot. So when you're going left, right, up and down, you're covering every single space in the area that you're working. So something to note. Guys, I just want to inform you, this is not a paid promotion. No one paid me to do this. However, I do want to give a huge shout out to Neil Govender from Crazy Detailer and the guys over at Flex. Thanks for loaning me the machine for the weekend. I really don't want to just go buy a machine just to record the episode. As you guys see, I've got a lot of dual action polishers. I'm a huge dual action polisher fan. When I started the detailing industry about 15 years ago, we had to make use of rotary, and when I got my hands on my first dual action polisher, I just loved it. And ever since then, I've stayed in that lane. I have used a positive drive or a gear driven polisher some time back, but I wanted to record this and actually show you guys how this machine works. So once again, thank you, Neil, I really appreciate it, and all the guys over at Flex South Africa. Once again, guys, I really appreciate your support. Let's actually get straight into how this machine works on the bonnet. lastly guys, I'm sure you can agree with me, the panel and the section that we were working on really came out phenomenally well. There's a huge difference, night and day difference. The panel actually feels a lot more smoother. The clarity is there. It literally looks as if, you know, there's two different shades of gray on, and not that type of gray, but there's different shades of gray on the actual bonnet, and you can actually see the clarity is back again. As mentioned before, this bonnet, when I bought it, the gentleman I bought it from, you know, he left it in the backyard, and there's a lot of scratches, there's a lot of deep defects in the actual clear, that, you know, you just can't polish out, and even if I have to sand it, I do run the risk of just literally sanding and then burning through the actual clear. So using the machine was actually a brilliant way to show how you can actually get rid of, you know, all the defects up until a certain point where we know, okay, we can't go any further because we are going to break through the actual clear. And I think this machine did a phenomenal job at actually getting rid of those defects. So I normally get a lot of questions and a lot of DMs with regards to which one is better, which one I prefer, and it all comes down to what it is that you expect or what it is that you want. There's a lot of guys that just don't like the actual feel of the forced rotation. You know, like I said, it feels like you're going to run away, whereas the dual action polisher literally feels light. There is a huge difference in the feel between the two. However, I would say if you are in an environment where you are working with body shops, with auto dealers and those type of things, and there's a lot of defects that need removal, I would say this one would definitely be an option for you. That is not to say that the dual action polish, you cannot get rid of it. It most definitely can. That's why I just have dual action polishes. However, the pace or the speed at which it gets done is different between the two. You're going to get a lot more done much more quicker with the positive drive or the gear driven polisher. The dual action polisher will get the same result. It's just might just take a little bit longer. And then it's just the feel, and the feel between those two are very different. And that is going to be your main deciding factor. Do you like the more lightweight, the more easygoing feeling, or do you actually prefer the fact that you can actually feel the polisher is working, it is actually digging in and doing some form of correction? And I have to state this again, guys, I'm not saying that the dual action polisher doesn't, because I know it does, and that's why I just have one, or I just have dual action polishers. I'm just saying that if you are looking at a time aspect, and if you're working with a body shop or a panel beating business and you need to get through a few cars, this will definitely be, I would highly recommend this. I still recommend that you get this. You can maybe do your initial correction with your positive drive and finish off with your dual action polisher, or you can just buy this and do everything with this. It has to come down with how you, as the user, interpret the feel and how you know how you work with the machine, and if that works for you. So I hope that answers your question. I hope that gives you or shed some light into that question, which one is better. That both are good. You just need to go with the one that feels better in your hands when you're busy doing a correction. If you haven't done so, please consider clicking the subscribe button and then clicking the notify bell right next to it. That way you'll get notified whenever I do an upload, and you'll get notified. And as mentioned, today's episode is the Genesis. I'm going to be uploading a few more episodes where I'm going to be looking at a lot of these machines, how they work, all the different types of pads and all the accessories that go with this environment. So there's a lot that's going to be coming up. So please don't forget to click the subscribe button. You guys, I'm sure you will enjoy it. And as usual, I'll put all the links in the product description below. And as usual, guys, let's not just clean our cars, let's make it shine.